Hey guys, back on with Dan's build. I have been messing about with a bit on this, sort of in the background, behind the scenes, if you want to call it that. I've been trying to tuck the headlight in a bit and drop it a bit. It's been a bit of a pain, to be honest, because the brackets took me a while anyway, because I'm using the fixing points that are already on the forks, because these front forks are BSA, so they are different to the Enfield girder forks. And yeah, I didn't want to weld any extra brackets on, because where the Enfield brackets come from, they're right on the joins to everything where they're all brazed. So I don't want to go and pile a load of heat from MIG welding into areas that are brazed. I really wouldn't trust doing that with the heat transfer going through everything. So I'm sticking with the mounting points for the BSA. So hopefully it will keep the front end safe. So I've had a mess about on my bracket. I've brought the light down quite low. So bear in mind, if you look at any photos of the Enfields, they have front mudguards. So this light is actually much lower now than the actual, what it would be on an Enfield, because we're not running a front mudguard. So that's took me a fair bit of messing about. I've tucked it back as much as I dare, and after studying quite a few photos of the Enfields, that Dan sent me some photos as well. You should look from where the front light is. It's sort of behind the point of the axle. So I've got all that now. We've still got a safe distance from the spring, because we're going to have wires coming out of the headlight. So I've sort of pretty much gone with where I can go with that now. If you take a look, again, it's quite hard. You know, people seen it on the camera to what I am seeing with it in the flesh, sort of thing. So if you bear in mind this would have run a front mudguard, it probably would be actually touching that light now. I've dropped it so low, I daren't go any more. It literally is, you know, that eye off the front tyre. So we've dropped it quite a lot. I'm dropping it with curving these brackets. It's brought it in as well. Again, it's hard to see it, I guess. Yeah, look. Daren't really go any lower than that. And let's see if we can do this. As you see from the front axle there, it is behind it. You know, trying to study the photos of all the Enfields, of where the light is placed. We are well within them boundaries now. As you can see that. As before, the headlight was probably sort of that level, which probably would have looked about the same as an Enfield if it was running a mudguard. But now it isn't. We're still trying to get it the same looking, if you know what I mean. So yeah, we've took well past the centre point of the wheel now. And we've literally, I'm trying to like give people a gauge where the wire comes out. We're literally like tucked back from the bottom of the spring, so we are right in. I'll say the Enfield light brackets come off these joins up here. I just did not want to weld onto these, because these are all brazed in. I do not want to upset them at all. So we've gone off the original BSA ones. I didn't want to chop all this off either, and you know, have chance of weakening anything. But these will get tidied up now. We'll get all the pitting out, and like I probably said before, I'm going to have them powder coated twice. Dress it back a bit, have them powder coated, dress it all back again, send them back to the powder coaters again, and then we should lose quite a lot of this pitting. Then we'll just polish all these other little bits up as best as we can. But anyway, my next job has been trying to sort the rear mudguard out. Now, because we've gone with these sort of off-road style tyres, I think they're actually trials tyres, it's completely changed how it sits in the mudguards I normally use. So the mudguard that I had put aside to this build, it's not working. It really isn't. It's just far too narrow, and I'd have to set it so high to give safe clearance from the tyre. It looks ridiculous. I've messed about with it and messed about with it, and there's just no getting around it to make it look nice, because obviously these are a lot taller with the knobblies on. The tyre's quite a bit taller, and they sort of splay out as well a tiny bit. So if I show you, so this is the mudguard we originally had for it, which is a rib one, and it's the only rib one I've got. And I actually, before lockdown, was talking to the guy that makes all these mudguards, and he hasn't got anything. This guy makes all these mudguards and supplies everyone with them. All the shops, everyone. He hasn't got nothing rib wide enough. So, put this one on. It is proper against the tyre, and if I try and lift it, the gap I'd have to clear it is ridiculous. And I've messed about with it. You know, there's only so much stretching around you can do before it deforms the mudguard. So when I seen this guy who does all the mudguards, I bought a wider one off him, but it's smooth, it's beautifully made. He does do a damn good job. And this one fits an absolute treat. I can get it low where we like them. It follows the radius of the tyre perfectly, and I can get it nice and low and not sitting like it's a damn motocross bike. It's bang on. It really is. So that's another decision I've got to try and make and sort out. It's certainly better looking than the one I was trying to make fit. It really is. As you can see, it's not fouling up on anything. That noise is just the chain guard, which we've got to take a little chomp out to miss everything. So I can get that one to fit absolutely perfect without some great big hideous gap. Because it's too narrow. That one is just far too narrow. It's just not following the tyre at all. As you can see, it's hard to see the differences, but I don't know if you can see that. It's like an inch wider, easily an inch wider than the ribbed one that I was trying to get fit. This one just drops straight on. And I'll be able to do the nice brackets in the centre of this one for the struts. But for now, I'm going to trim all the chain guard so it clears everything. I have done the battery box I've just got to dress all these welds so everything's smooth. And then I'm going to make the back of the chain guard, and then it'll bolt to the back of the gearbox there. So today I think it's get this back on, trim all the chain guard and put the back in there. And I think everything's going to miss and work. Fingers crossed. Let's take that off so I don't damage it. So yeah, that's literally just been made. It's brand spanking new. This is the thing, you see, because all the other Enfields that I've done, they just become quite straightforward for me. Because we've sort of broke the mould with this one, it's a whole load more thinking time and trying to get everything to work properly. But it'll get there. It'll get there. Anyway, let's get on with this bit. We've got this to fix on, this little bit we made in one of the previous videos. The oil tank to put back on so we know everything's missing, and then get the brackets to mount the front part of this chain guard. Let's get on with it. Right, what I'm going to do first, it's very high tech, like everything in here, is space out the mudguard. Or is it a fender? Mudguard, fender, mudguard, fender. Yokes, triple trees. What else? What else do we call different names? It's all the same thing. Right. Yeah, might seem quite a basic way of doing this, but it really does work. I just want to rest this in place so we know where we're trimming the chain guard. That normally gives us a nice gap to work with. Yeah, it's normally a nice gap when you use the hose pipe. Right then. That's not quite where it's going to sit, but all I'm interested in for now is chain guard clearance and stuff. Clearance from the oil tank and where I'm going to put the back of this up to. Because it'll just have a little return on the back of this chain guard and then bolt to the top mount of the gearbox there. And then we'll sort all this out then. So yeah, that mudguard fits absolutely spot on. So if I draw now, doesn't need a lot to be honest. But it's best to have decent clearance than nothing. I'm going to mark on the front where I want to put the back in. So I'll go right to there. We should be all right at that. There's going to be plenty of clearance. Right. So where I've marked this, that's where I want to put the back in. And then I'll have a return there that'll go to this bolt on the gearbox. Right, I've been having a messing about, been trying to come up with the easiest, simplest way of doing this, because there's some angle changes from how the actual guard kicks up and the back of the gearbox where it's bolting is straight. So I'm just coming up with the easiest way to do it. So I've cut this out, I've drilled a hole in it to bolt up to the gearbox. And then I'm going to mount it on now. I'll remove the oil tank again. So I'm going to bolt this up, then draw around it and trim it off basically. And I believe that will be the easiest way to do it. So we'll do that now, we'll bolt it on. It is a bit of a tight squeeze to get it all in and miss the oil tank, so when I draw around this is actually got to go on the underside of the actual guard, not on the back face. But I'll do it up and draw around it and trim it off. It's not going to sit perfect till slip until we get it on the underside. Oh, tell you what, I really need to bring that up a bit more, to be fair. Definitely, so I want to clear that. All part of it, try it and redo it and try it till you get it right. I ended up doing another one. I weren't happy with that. Let's try this. It's one of them little jobs you think simple and it ends up giving you problems. But we want it right. This should be okay. Version 2. That's better. Right. I want that about there. That plate I've just put on is sort of leaning into the bike, so I want to pull it straight, so at least, there we go, we mark it in the correct place. I don't want to be doing version 3. Right, that's better, so we'll mark all that up now and cut it off. Scoop that out. It's all these little jobs that really soak up the time. They really do. People don't, well, some people do realise how many hours go into these little parts of the bike. There we go. So we've got to mark how much that is got to stick out. And back off it comes. quickly try it on. And you want to rest it in place. Yeah, I think we're on a winner there. Let's do it. Let's do it. I've just plodded on with that. Got all that sort of welded in and dressed up. Still got a little bit to do there by the look of it. But I've said before, we'll tend to all the fine details as we're creating the pile for the powder coater. But we've got the little cutout for the mudguard and tyre to give that plenty of space. You know, it could be further down the line, someone will try and put different tyres on this. At least doing that little cutout, it will allow for that. So we've got the return on there that bolts to the gearbox. So we'll see how it all fits together, eh? There we go. But sometimes, I've said, it can take so long to get all these smaller jobs done to get them right. Because you know, a lot of it's all one-off stuff. You're taking it off, putting it on, taking it off, putting it on till you've got it right. And there's such a lot of other things to take into consideration, like the wheel, the mudguard, the dummy oil tank. Everything's got to clear each other and be easy to assemble as well, because you got to think about when all this is in paint and powder, you don't want to be fiddling around with anything too much, because that's when damage occurs, you end up scratching something, and that is just soul destroying. So you want to make sure it's easy to assemble as well. Although when I put stuff together, I do tend to put masking tape around a lot of stuff, just to protect it as you're building it. Especially if you're in a clumsy mood like me, and you go and damage something. Right, oil tank, please fit. You best do. So we just got to dress that well, smooth it all in like everything else. Ooh. Okay, that all clears. Everything's clear. There's nothing colliding with each other. This is now nice and solid. All we got to do next is this and decide if we're having a return on there. What I think I might do, I think I might do a little return on it, but then do it so it sort of folds over this side as well, and put a return on there as well. Decisions. It's going to be quite tricky, I think, but we're going to give it a go. As it stands now, that looks unfinished, I think. If you look at that, I think having that gap, it looks unfinished. Just a tiny lip on there, even if it's still got a bit of a gap, but just having a lip on there that returns, I think it'll finish it off a lot better. Yeah. I'll go off and have a little think about that, how we're going to tackle it. Right, I've had a little think, and what I'll do is we'll cut a bit of material out. I've cut this template to get me somewhere near. So if I cut that curve in a piece of material, and we'll bring it off this flat part of the bracket as well and take it down, so we sort of have, well, so it sort of looks folded down from here as well and curves round. So this will have a little return on it coming down, which should make that curve look continuous on this. Hopefully. Let's give it a go. So if I cut this out, so we haven't got none of that. If I cut this out, oh no, we need a bit of that, don't we? Hold on. Nearly done my first mistake. So I need that coming out. So it ends up with a bit of return. I'll hopefully bring that down into a point. So if I cut that out, leaving enough material to mess with, so that'll be just rough cut to start with. And then we'll trim it back till it fits around that inner primary nice. That looks quite rough at the moment, but I'm leaving extra on there to give us plenty to play about with. Right, it's getting there. I'm trimming bits up. What I've done, I've been and welded it all the way round and trimmed it off, because I've done that just in case it moves with the welding. If I go and sort of shape this up so it's absolutely bang on, then weld it, it's just a small chance it'd throw it all out. So I've welded it up. Now we're just trimming it off. Turn the wind on. Right, let's go and have a quick look at that. getting there. We just got a little bit in that area there. And then we'll tidy that curve up. I've got to trim it off there. That is starting to look better. We'll just tidy the surface up on that now and see what we've got. Let's try that. A bit here, I think. Just there, you probably can't see it on the camera. Just a tiny bit. I reckon that might do it. I think we've got it. I think it looks better than the gap. I am happy enough to mark the holes up on that. And drill it out, which I'm going to have to remove it all again. It's been on and off a few times, that chain guard today. But I think it is worth it. Well, I've decided I'm going to drill the holes tomorrow, so I've got to take it all off. But I've got that in place. Well, we've got to do a little fixing for this. But I think that looks a lot better with that return on it. Still a tiny bit of dressing up to do here and there, but it's about there. It's looking a lot better than having a gap. I think I just realised how late it's getting, so I think that's my day about done, apart from cleaning the big mess up. Probably don't look a mess, but it is. So yeah, I'll try and clean up at night, because it's better than walking into it in the morning. So I think it's fast approaching 8 o'clock in the evening, I think. Something like that. So I'm going to get cleaned up and call it a day. But yeah, that's another bit ticked off the Enfield, isn't it? Let's say the battery box is done. The welding is dressing up, smoothing out like the rest of the bike. That's the chain guard about done. I think we've got to put like a little brass oiler on there yet. And next is mounting the mudguard. Get all that sorted. It's taking shape, and we've got the tank mounts to do. That's going to be fairly simple. It's just going to be fairly straightforward. Brackets underneath the tank. It's not like the modern Enfields, because we're using the early tank, so that one's all fixed underneath, which is good, so you won't see all the fixing points for it. And obviously we've got to bung up the original fixing points for the original tank that was on it. And I think after this lockdown, like I said, I think I said earlier, I can't remember, I am going to put an extra bit on this shed. Definitely. It's definitely going to help, even if it's just to get the toolboxes, the gas bottle, the welder. I've got toolboxes down that end and the trolley. Even if all that goes in there, I think it'll free up a lot of space in here. I've got lots on the list to do, really. I want to make a steel workbench, because that one's about had its day. It served its purpose, though. It's been up there a few years. Oh, we got the number plate, the side mount number plate to do as well, which we're doing on the opposite side of this, because obviously this one's got a chain guard. So we've got to do the brackets for that as well. So we're slowly chipping away at all the small jobs for it. It won't be far off coming to bits, really, which will be a nice moment. I like that stage when everything's coming apart, you're getting everything off to the painters, powder coaters. Then I shall tidy the engine up while all that stuff's away. Then it'd be the build back up. I've got a bit of work to do on the front forks. Dressing all them up and getting the correct spindle in there. Got to do the steering stops, sort them out. It all adds up, doesn't it? It all adds up, and you tend to forget quite a lot of what you've got to do. It keeps springing to mind. Do we have a cleaner coming in once a day? Save me doing it. Oh. Whew. Oh, also, when I do the little extension on the side there, it's only probably going to be about 1 metre. That's all I need. I can also get a bike in that space. Just probably the length right down to the door. And then I think I'm going to get another log burner in here. So I used to have a log burner in here. At the minute I'm running this electric heater down here. Oh, no, I dread to think what the electric meter's doing. I don't even want to have a look yet. So I think when all that's able to go out the way in the extra bit, I'm going to put another log burner here. Put another little wall in there as well. So obviously it retains the heat, keeps it off the wood. And just pick up a second-hand one off the internet, because the heat that throws out in here is fantastic. In the thick of winter, when it gets really cold, sometimes I'm working in here late at night or early in the morning, it's absolutely freezing, and this little heater here doesn't really do a great deal. So I think, yeah, when the little the lean-to's done, I'm definitely going to sort another log burner. I'm not going to make one. I'll probably hear some of you saying, just make one. Now, to do them properly takes quite a long time actually. I know people do them out of gas bottles and things like that, but I don't think you can beat a proper old cast iron one with the bricks inside. It holds the heat a lot better as well. Even when they go out, they retain a lot of heat for quite a while. So yeah, I shall buy a decent second-hand one off the internet. There's plenty on there. I've been having a look. And the good thing with them as well is you load it up at night with a good amount of coal. It's normally still pretty damn warm in the morning, so you're coming into a bit of warmth as well. I've done my years of working in the freezing cold. When we used to go out fitting the work, we used to make all the gates, railings, then you'd be out fitting all the work in the snow and everything. I like to be warm now. All right in your younger years, that is. You just get on with it. I like to be warm. There we go, where's the pan? There it is. Oh, that's a bit better, isn't it? Whew. Sitting up my cup of tea. Sitting up my cup of tea, and then I'm locking up. And that'll do. Anyway, cheers for watching, guys. Thank you.